It is in progress, and that is our official notification. Welcome. My name is Siobhán O'Loughlin. I am so happy to have you all here on session 50 something of our Ask Me Anything here at Edge Studio. Today is a really exciting day in particular. There's a bit of a what we call a May Gray here in Los Angeles. David Goldberg, our Chief Edge Officer, how's the weather where you are? How are you doing?
Uh, Weather's okay. I'm doing fantastic. It's fantastic being on these calls. You know that I love these things. Every other week I look forward to them. Yeah, and it's great to have. First of all, hi Siobhan, and it's also extra fantastic to have Amy with us. Amy Selma, who I think Siobhan is all ready to introduce. So I'll let you do your thing, Siobhan. But hello, everyone.
Heck yes, we have a guest star in the house. Today, great Nicole, it's great to see you. For my new folks, if you're new to these sessions, welcome, welcome. The way this is going to work is pretty uncomplicatedly. If you're not on the Zooms very often, thanks for being on it with us. We love the chat here. The chat is where we like to hang out and talk. You can let us know where you're calling us from. Geddes is already saying, "What is up, VO dogs?" So you can respond to that prompt in that post haste. You are welcome to keep your camera on. There's a gallery mode. You can so to watch this on gallery, you've got your view option in your top right corner, and you can see this in gallery. You can see all the cute people in their VO booths. Amber, your hair looks great. I love it. Yes, my friend Michael, he's like, wait, why are you not talking about my hair? Also very good. Speaking of great hair, we do have Nicole. She's looking fabulous as well. Hey, Nicole. Getty is in a polo, and I think Dana already took a selfie already in this. Yep, I saw you. That's okay. I love having my picture taken. Feel free to pin me if you want. You can also watch this in speaker mode, which also in your view options you can either do gallery, which I recommend because there's some funny people in the house. But speaker means you get to see my face blown up and David's and our guest stars Amy, and who could blame you for wanting to see her? So the way this is gonna roll is we're gonna have questions. We hang out in the chat. We ask questions in the chat, and I facilitate those over to our own David Goldberg as well as our guest star. So regarding guest stars here at Ask Me Anything, it's our first time featuring this woman, and I am very pleased as punch to have her. Not only is she just hard to get a hold of because she's like such a big deal, but I'm just personally a fan of hers in general. She is an Edge alumni of I don't even actually know when she first started training, but her story is quite wonderful, and we're gonna get it from herself. Not, I mean, we have her, so I don't need to tell her story for her. But I'm just super hype about her and her incredible success in the VO industry. And on top of that, she's actually just like a lovely human being who is pleasant to communicate with on Instagram via email. And as some of you may have experienced already in a private coaching session, that is the Amy Selma. Amy, welcome, hello, and good morning, my fellow Angelino.
Hello, everybody. Hi. I'm so happy to be here. I'm excited about this. I'm so happy. This is good. So beautiful people in the house. This is cool.
Beautiful. Yes, she knows. See, look, beautiful people in the house. I told you she's brilliant. She knows what she sees. So Amy, thanks for joining us here at Ask Me Anything, and your first time, super hype. And so obviously, everybody says hello. You don't have to worry if you're already feeling like, oh my gosh, there's a chat, and like, what do I look at? I will take care of bringing the chat questions over to you as people ask things and as people kind of get involved. But if you're really good at multitasking, feel free because they're really fun. The way I like to get these things started, yes, good to be here again. Bruce, what's up? Terry says, welcome, Amy. We love to see it. Amy, the way I want to get this going, usually what I like to do is just give a little bit of an intro. I would love for you to talk to the community about how you got to where you are, how you kind of began your voiceover journey. You do a lot of things. Amy's also a mom. Happy post Mother's Day to
Oh,
you.
thank you.
Heck yes. And I know you do a lot in the world. And so if you want to just tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got started, where you came from, and what's going on with you these days in the voice
Sure.
universe.
So, yeah, no, love to. So hi, everybody. My name's Amy. So I'm originally from Mexico, born, raised Mexican. I moved to the United States 2014. I married an Argentinian, and we were accidentally, I'll do this part short. I always loved the arts. I always loved theater and singing and doing something with my voice. But I was born in a situation where there was not a lot of opportunities. So the little town I'm from is in the middle of the Caribbean, Mexico, the last piece of Mexico. It's close to Belize. It's a little town of 250,000 people. So there wasn't a lot of opportunities when I expressed to my parents that I would love to do something with the arts. They were like, "Oh, mija, you're not going to do that because you're going to starve to death." So I was pushed out of that situation. I try to get something more kind of creative. I self-taught myself graphic design. I went to school for industrial design for products and that kind of stuff. Kind of have that. And again, when I graduated, I said, "Oh my gosh, I won't be able to do this because, well, Mexico is a manufacturing country. Everything is designed in California." So I'm like, now what am I going to do? So I accidentally ended in the entertainment industry. My first job, I always loved to draw and paint. I worked doing visual effects for movies in Monterrey, Mexico, and there's where I started incurring into this animation world and stuff. Okay, I landed a job working in an animation cartoon. It was a production, an animated cartoon, where I met my current husband. He's from Argentina. I didn't know at the time that a lot of the cartoons were subcontracted to third world countries. So there were a lot of productions that were done in Argentina and Mexico, and I was learning about this whole stuff. I was the one that was like the scheduler, trying to get the money from people and stuff. So and we were producing like it was a film, an animated film. And the director comes in and says, Amy, we need to do scratch voices. I'm like, what? What's that? I'm like, I don't have a budget for that. And they're like, well, we need to time the scenes for the animatic, and we need somebody to, to pull off 9 different characters and just get this going so we could know the timing of the scenes that we got. It was the storyboard animatic. And then I'm like, well, I'll do it because we don't have a budget. So that was my first time behind the mic and working this, and I was thrown into the fire, and that was amazing. When I started doing it the first time, I'm like, wow, this is so cool. And the director said, "You're really good at this." I'm like, "At what?" "Doing voiceover." I'm like, "What is that?" So that was my introduction to voiceover. He started mentioning like, well, in animation, you do the voice first, and then we do the characters, and then we do the animation, all the stuff. I'm like, oh, wow, okay. And then I said, the reality is I'm never going to do this again. That was back in 2011. Okay. I got married with Nico Selma. He's an animation director. He was the director at the time. And we were in Mexico. And when that happened, I knew his work was freelance. And I said, okay, I'm going to get the stable job and you're going to go freelance your stuff. So I pushed it again, my dream to do anything with voicing. And I come to the United States. I moved to Minnesota. I was there for 2 years. I worked in corporate America. I was working in a marketing. I rebranded myself coming from another country, my curriculum. Nobody knew where I even studied, my school, nothing. So I had to rebrand myself completely. And here I am. I did a project management certification, agile scrum, this whole blah, blah, blah. And I was miserable. I was working in corporate America. I was so sad. I needed a creative outlet and I didn't know what to do. So here comes my husband again, says, "Hey, why don't you give voiceover a try?" By then, we moved to LA because also his industry is in LA. It took us 2 years to get here. We landed 2016. And when we're here, he's like, "Well, why don't you get into acting classes? Why don't you try to get this thing working?" I started doing it for 4 or 5 months. And then I put it on hold because I got pregnant. And then I put it on hold again. So another year went by and I'm like, oh, this can't be. I can't be pushing out my dreams. I was 30 odd. I'm 36 now. At the end, I was 32, 33 at the moment. I'm like, if I don't do this now, I will never have time again because I started to notice I have less time on my hands. So here I am doing this, started taking acting classes. I said, I'm going to do this. If I don't do it now, it's never going to happen. I started coaching with David. I remember, well, not starting, I took some classes, but when I went, I said, I need to get a demo. I need to get this going. I need to get my commercial situation done. I signed up to coach with David for a commercial. That was 2018, 2019. And I hit it off. I started working specifically for automotive. My first clients were automotive radio production companies, and I started doing automotive because I was bilingual. So I went directly to the niche. I needed to get money to be able to quit my job. So when I broke even, I quit my job and I just started going at it. And here I am. I try to be like short on that story.
Perfect. Nope, we need the full journey. I also really appreciate your like what is voiceover as part of your, and also hey, the experience of like I'll just do it because we don't have the budget. Wow, that is a real true thing. And so thank you for sharing that, and I appreciate the intro. So we have so much I guess to really talk about. Can you tell us a little bit about like your kind of career at this point and some of the things that you've been up to, I guess, lately, or anything you want to share in the modern in the modern day?
Sure. So, okay, where I'm at now. So, let's say one, two, yeah, I've been 2019, I was working part-time. And then 3 to 4 months in, when I got into voiceover and I said, I'm going to do it serious, I broke even and I went full-time. So I could say full-time, it was end of 2019 to right now. So again, I was explaining, at the beginning, because I was bilingual, I didn't have a lot of, let's say, role models. There were some people that were also bilingual to how to market your career specifically. So what I decided was, okay, I have to be like strategic about this. I sold my Spanish to the American market and my American English to the rest of the world. So what happened was that I literally, my marketing efforts were the most important thing, and I started to get credits under my belt. When I got my credits under my belt, I was able to get an agent here in LA. About before a year that I started in, I got my first agent. My goal is video games and animation because that's what I love. That's why I got in here, but it's the hardest thing to get into. So it's been like step, step, step. I got the agent, I got a better agent, and now I'm getting auditions for animation. So let's say, yeah, 2 to 3 years in, I booked 2 video games now with like, that's amazing. I'm so happy. And I just booked an animation pilot. So that's my first, like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about that. But it's been a journey, like every single time that I have the opportunity to come to these kind of stuff where the community has helped me. The VO community has been so valuable to me because there's been so many people that has helped me through my journey to learn to, hey, you should take this. I suggest do this. Why don't you take improv classes? Get more into acting just to perfect and polish your skills. That's an ongoing thing, and you don't sit still on that. So that's basically what oh, and one thing, I also love dubbing. It was hard to get into dubbing, and this year I just got into dubbing too. I just finished two shows for Disney Plus, and that was amazing. So I'm just so excited. I'm starting to get the stuff that I wanted to get into just, let's say, recently, end of last year, this year.
Amy, can you
Yes.
list off some of your clients, non-animation clients, but
Oh, sure.
regular narration, corporate, commercial clients? It's
Sure.
pretty impressive.
So I've been, well, McDonald's, Samsung, Whirlpool, PepsiCo, well, Disney. Disney Channel was corporate first, and then Disney Plus now with dubbing. Um, Oster, Pfizer, Vic, the Latin Recording Academy, um, uh, Hard Rock Cafe, Noom. It's an app. Heard losing weight. Uh, Havaianas. It's like a sandal company. Yeah, Havaianas. Am I forgetting? Twitch. Um, Recently, Colgate toothpaste. And there's other like Spanish brands that has been, yeah, coming on. There's British American Tobacco. I do all their the corporate stuff for narration corporate. And yeah, the list goes on. It's like, yeah.
It's so cool. I think, did we hire you for the Colgate spot, or is it a coincidence that
No,
we
no,
just
no. The
no, we just
Colgate.
had something for Colgate?
Oh, really? This actually, I'm doing it for Brazil. They're like localizing stuff from Portuguese to Spanish for for the Latin American market. So it's Colgate, but no, I haven't done the Colgate stuff with you guys.
Oh,
I did. It was. I did work with you guys for Fable Vision.
oh,
For
right.
Fable
Okay.
Vision Learning,
Cool.
I've been doing. And you guys invited me to direct for Spanish. We did Voltaren and we did Sensodyne.
Oh, that might be what
Mhm.
I was thinking of. Okay.
Yeah.
Some toothpaste. Anyway, cool. Amy, it's terrific how much you've accomplished in 2 years. That we're all impressed, and hats off for you. Hats off to you. We should get to some questions,
Yes.
Siobhán.
Absolutely, yes. I just think it's nice to get a little bit of a sense of like what's going on in the world to hone our questions in. Amy, thank you for telling us all about your many things. And for my people, if you're feeling like intimidated or like, how am I ever gonna do all those things? The purpose here is to empower and to motivate you, and to certainly not make you feel like it's all so impossible because everybody's journey is super different, and we are here to build you up and heat you up with inspiration. And so Dina is coming in hot. If
Yeah.
you're doing a script, Amy, in both English and Spanish, and the Spanish translation is obviously not accurate, how do you handle that in a session?
Yeah, so I've had that a lot, happen a lot. So it's a process right now with the globalization. A lot of companies are offering localization services and they don't have that support in Spanish, for example. So I try to be as helpful as possible. So they really appreciate that. So when I see that, I with lots of love, I say, excuse me, can I please just, can I make a suggestion? And then I bring the problem up, but I also bring the solution. So if we have the script issue, I'm saying, well, we could say it this way, won't change the meaning, but it will help with timing. I have that with inaccurate translations, but I do have that a lot because Spanish is 25% longer than English. So the scripts are always longer and it doesn't fit in 30 seconds. So we always have to, sometimes cut or change or modify the way we're saying it so it could help. And I do it live in the session and just help the best way I can. And they love it and they become repeated clients when they appreciate the extra help. So going an extra mile with anything you could do with a client, it's gold for them. They appreciate it.
Mm.
I want to reiterate something that Amy said, because on my end of the business, on the directing end, dealing with clients, it is, as Amy said, incredibly helpful when a voice actor can help in any way with the, shaping the script, making the final production better. It is so much in the delivery. Like she said, I have seen so many voice actors have good suggestions, good intention, but state things in such a way that it looks like they're a know-it-all, or they are finding fault with the creative team. I've even quite a number of times seen a voice actor put down the copywriter during the recording session, not realizing that the copywriter was also at the session, or on remote with the in the remote recording. You have to take these things as Amy said, bring it up with love. Show your good intention, and it can make a huge difference. It shows the client that you care, that you support, that you want to do well, you want to help them out, and even to another degree. So very often when we are recording, for example, a corporate script, as Amy mentioned, sometimes the voiceover is being taken from something that has been written, something that was written a long time ago, so the language needs to be updated. There's nothing wrong with the language other than the fact that it's just sort of out of date. So we'll get a script that might say, make sure you save your files to a floppy disk. And we'll say to the client, love the script, great copywriting. However, do you want to maybe update the word floppy disk, or put in, and sometimes, by the way, we've had a client say, oh, yeah, you should change it to the thumb drive. And we'll say, that's great. We can change it to thumb drive. And do you want to think ahead, like to five years down the road, really 5 seconds down the road when thumb drives are a thing of the past, and maybe just use to the clouds, just so you have some options. And that's when the client says, oh man, thank you. And so that's how you really keep a customer as a repeat customer. Amy, thanks for taking that on.
No, it's all good.
Amy, lots of questions. We love to talk about agents. Agents are like a hot topic in the industry, and so I know that you. So there's a few questions I'm going to try to kind of distill here, and one of them is from Rusty. Hey, Rusty. At what point should you start looking for an agent? And I know that you mentioned, um, obviously, here at Edge, we're not saying there's necessarily anything you should do, but I do want to really speak to what Amy's journey was, which was, I think you were talking about how you felt you wanted to get a couple of gigs under your belt first before you started seeking one. Can you tell us a little bit about your specific path there?
Yeah, so I thought about agents as I was casting, when I was doing the production for the animation gig, I was casting talent. So I remember that if I had a talent that, oh, they've done this, you felt more secure to work with that person. So I said, well, I need to be somebody that has a credible reputation to be able to go and work with somebody, because having an agent is it's teamwork. It's you help them, and like they help you to get better in your career, but you help also the agent to book something, and we work together to get the client happy. So I knew that I needed to have at least 5, 6 big credits to first before I even started, even looking for an agent. So also, agents are people. And what I did is I got my gigs, the credits, by direct marketing first. So what I did was I got my demos. I was doing direct marketing to video production companies. That's how I got my big credits. And when I had 5, 6, I did a resume. I wrote it everything down, and I started to attend conferences to get to know them in person, networking and talking about. And I had really clear, I think this is gold. If you know what your strengths are, what can you bring to the table to the agent? Because they have their roster, they have uh, diverse voices, male voices. They have all this different range. So if you make the work and say, I belong in this little bucket, this is me, they will appreciate that. So it just increases your potential to get picked up by an agent. So basically is know who you are, show it, put in your website, do a resume, put it out there that you're doing this type of work. What do you bring? What are your skill sets? And then you go and you knock on the doors on agents. The best way to know them in person first, you talk to them, not looking to get representation, just to get to know them. And down the line, you then present yourself as that's, I think it's been for me in my experiences, I've had the best success that way.
And Amy, do you feel that your first? Let me ask you: is your first agent that you got?
Hmm.
God, I forgive
Yeah.
my language is a little wonky today. Um, is that a good relationship? Are you still with this agent?
Yes.
Okay,
Because oh, this is a quite good. Thank you. You ding ding ding.
there you go.
You can have multiple agents depending on where you are. Like I'm in LA. I have an LA agent that I have an exclusive I have an exclusive regional contract with them just for LA. But the rest of the United States, also have agents that are across the United States. I have one in Chicago. I have one in Denver. I have one in Florida area. So I have non-exclusive agreements with them. And the relationship is I told my LA agent, hey, I have these agents. So basically the priority line goes, if I get an audition, because sometimes I do from other agents, but I also got it from my main agent, I go with my main agent. I always book it through them because they're representing me. If I get a project that is maybe a regional or a local, something smaller from other regional agents, I'll, do the audition and go with the other agents. But I do have multiple agents. Does that explain the question?
Yeah, I think so. And I guess the place I was getting to as well was like asking about the relationship because it's complicated, right? Like you want an agent, but you also want an agent that you have a good relationship with that sends you the kind of work that you might actually book, right? Because we all know that auditions take time. And when we are seeking our own work, we are targeting, hopefully, ought to be work that we really think we'd be qualified for that is in our wheelhouse. Sometimes our agents can send us things that you know may not actually apply, but you have to do it. But the agent's like, you have to submit these things to me, right? So I'm keying in on what Amy's talking about in terms of my hope for everyone if you go the agent route is that you have one that you have a good relationship with who really sees you for your strengths and wants to give you the kinds of auditions that you might actually book. Is that
Mhm.
Amy? Yeah, David,
Yes. Go.
you
Sorry.
want to put in?
No, no worries. Just a couple of thoughts. Yes, I agree with everything you both are saying. Some additional thoughts with agents. Number one, when you work with an agent, and it really is, as has been said, a two-way relationship. Sometimes you are sent auditions that seem to not make any sense for you. And Siobhán, as you said, you're sort of expected to send them back. That is not necessarily the case with every agent. However, very often agents will send you stuff that they know is not right for you. but it's done as a test, especially when you're new with that agency. They want to test. They want to find out, do you actually give us something that's worthwhile? They have no intent on submitting it to the client. It is simply a test. So it's not a time for you to call your agent and say, like, why are you sending me this? Because it could be, maybe they made a clerical error, but more than likely it is part of a test. Because the agent wants to make sure that they look good in front of their client. And the other thing I wanted to say is when I very often work with voice actors when they are working on very big auditions, and we talk a lot, very often we talk a lot about pleasing their agent and discussing things with their agent, because the voice actor will call me up and say, like, here's the script I was sent, here's what I recorded. David, can you give it your 2 cents? Or give it a review. And I'll listen to it and I'll say, well, one word seems kind of off, or I think I hear an accent, but it depends on where the script is coming from, and like there are questions. And I say, call your agent, talk with them about it, show that you are interested in helping them look good. It's a great thing to do, to look at your agent as someone that you work with, a collaborative relationship. It is so important to maintain that agent and get good auditions coming in.
Can I piggyback from what David just said?
Of course.
There's also great, just because it's a teamwork, there's been situations where I get a client that it's like I got the client on my own and it's a big project and I bring my agent in to help me negotiate the rate, and they so appreciate that, because it's like I said, it's a relationship. We're trying to work together. And what David said too about the test, when you get into the roster, when you just got signed, literally do your homework, just do the best you can until you book something, or my rule is do it 6 months, check the auditions, because it's a two-way relationship. You also have to see, is this agent just sending me a whole bunch of stuff? It's just like crowding my email. I can't do all of this stuff, but try to be like dependable, responsible. And if you can't do it and it's taking too much of your time, take a while work with them for a while, and then just bring it up, like a situation, but where like you've had a while with them. Hopefully you book something first, and then you could bring that conversation in, saying, well, I think I do better with this and that, and just have a conversation. They always have, like, they're so responsive on email, on the phone. You could just call them up and just discuss about the situation. So yes, that is so true, David. Thank you for bringing it up.
And something else then, to double piggyback. So you mentioned bringing work to your agent that you get elsewhere, and that is a terrific idea. And over the years, I've had a large number of voice actors say to me things like, I wanted to sign with an agent, but part of the agreement is that if I get work outside of the agent, I bring it to them. And that's unfair, because they're going to take a percentage. Like, why would I want to do that? If I market myself and I get the work, why should my agent get a percentage of it? Well, here's the thing. Your agent is so good at negotiating rates that most of the time they'll probably get you a way better rate than you would have gotten on your own. And even after you pay your 10 or 15% commission to your agent, you're probably still further ahead. And then your agent is doing the paperwork, and there's so many other benefits. And as Amy said, you keep your agent happy. And it's kind of the way things are, and you just accept it. And it is really a good thing. It keeps your agent happy. It should theoretically keep you happier and doing well in this industry.
Yeah.
On in the realm of all of that, so Amy, you were talking about how you wanted to get some good work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really paraphrasing here. That is
Yeah,
not
you're doing
exactly what
great.
you said, but thank you. Thanks. I'm doing great. So Mayan is asking, how many? I guess this is a sort of broad question, but I guess a little bit about your journey to, let's just say, feeling ready, okay, to really submit to agents. In other words, I feel good enough about myself. I feel ready. I feel proud. I've got some gigs that I feel like kind of show me off. How did you kind of get there? Like, so specifically, she's asking how many applications or auditions did you submit a week and things like that. Now, that's quite specific, but can you tell us a little bit about how you went about booking some of your first work?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay. There's a whole bunch of information in that question.
Yeah.
Um, so first, knowing when you're ready, honestly, I am a person that's very impulsive. and I throw myself to the fire. So when I found out that when I said, I have 5 credits, come on. I mean, I have to, somebody would like to work with me. I just tested out the waters. That's what I did. And it worked. So I had 5 credits when I started applying. Okay. How did I get those 5 credits? There were 2 ways. I did play the pay to play game at the beginning. I did do it because I noticed that there was more globalization going on, and I did started to notice that there were pretty big projects that were out there. I was just in one platform, right? And I was able to get that client. I basically did the pay to play. I did one job for them. I built a relationship with that client, and then that client basically, that's how I got the Latin Recording Academy gig. That's how I got it, through a relationship with a client, that you build up the relationship. So I got my credits doing pay to play and direct marketing. I already had my professional demo, and I was direct marketing to agencies and video production companies. So that's how I got the credits. That's how I think my first credits were the Latin Recording Academy. VIX was a national campaign for Latin America, and they were doing a lot of localization. And then for Brazil, that was another thing. Brazil is pretty big. They do a lot of work for the United States localizing to American English. And with Brazil, I think, let me go back. What did I do for Brazil? There was a big, what the other big credit I did for Brazil, it was Walmart. It was Walmart for Brazil. So it was in American English, but for a company in Brazil. And that was like, I think but that's how I started getting my credits up. I didn't have an agent, but I was booking these stuff, getting it from, direct marketing and pay to play. Did that answer the question? What other thing that I had to say? What was the other stuff?
I think
The
that was
auditions.
perfect. I just want to do one point of clarification. The pay to play online casting uh,
Ah, thanks.
that she's referring to, which obviously we strongly encourage. There are many different options, and we don't prefer one over the other. Honestly, y'all, but there's different. But Amy, you're saying, did you choose one and sort of hone in on that one?
Yes. So I went to Voice 123. The reason was because some sites you can't have that relationship with the client. Voice 123 for me, I paid the membership, I got in there, but you get that messenger, and I was able to build a relationship with the client. So I would audition, I would book something, and they would send me the script to my email or keep the relationship over messenger, and then I moved it to my email, and then we started working together. That's how I picked up some clients.
So I love this. So for people who are like, what is this online casting thing? What am I doing? Like I know of many voice actors who have really landed some awesome gigs through these platforms. And what I love about it, to Amy's point, is that she's tailoring the auditions to her niche, to her wheelhouse. She's talking about some really specific stuff here that she knows that she can rock. So I think like it's actually a wonderful opportunity for you to look at things, look at what kind of work you might really be just a fabulous candidate for. And to see it as an opportunity. It can be really stressful to go in there and like look at what am I going to do, but just think about what you have to offer and go find those jobs. And yeah, Amy.
One thing before I forget,
Yeah.
2 things on this. You have to optimize your pay to play profile. If this is techie stuff, okay? The platforms have kind of like a bot. It's like this thing that they categorize you, right? So I keyword my profile as like, oh my gosh, I went overboard with the keywords. What I mean by that is you have to be specific. Like I had little snippets of work that I did, and I uploaded, and I put a lot of samples in there, and I keyword each sample as much as possible. So what happened? The platform started throwing me auditions that were more specific for me, and my booking ratio went up. So if you guys are on Voice 123, I was the bottom 10%, and then like in a few months I was top 10. What that means is that the platform knows and throws you auditions that are more specific for you, and you're going to book more. That's how you do the pay to plays. The other thing you said, and it was about before I forget, you said something else. Oh my gosh, come on, I hate when I forget things.
Doing great.
Wait, I
You're doing
forgot.
great.
I totally forgot. I thought I forgot. It was the optimization of your profile, and I forgot.
That's okay. David, um, David, I'm wondering if you want to jump in here. People are also asking, specifically, examples of good language to include in emails and cover letters when you send out direct marketing packages and things like that. And
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
they,
this is something that comes up almost every Ask Me Anything. So some of you have heard this before. The key thing is to approach these as relationships and not just be another template letter. And still to this day, no matter how many Ask Me Anythings we have, and no matter how many lectures we give through all of the coaches at Edge Studio on this topic, the vast majority of voice actors, generally neophytes, they send us emails that just aren't helpful. Amy said earlier, like give us something to like call you upon, like something that we know where to put you in, what bucket to put you in. Um, that doesn't typically happen. I mean, it's great. When Amy and I trained together, or when I was training her, years ago, um, like we talked about that, like where is your voice? I mean, where are your strengths and things? And that stuff is really important. And you build upon those. And so if you're going to market yourself, let someone know what it is that you can bring to them. How can you help them? Make it a relationship. It has to be two-way. Do your homework, take some time. So as I've said many times on these calls, the typical letter we get says, "Hi, I do voiceover. I do commercials. I do narrations. I. It doesn't help us. It's the most generic freaking thing you can imagine. There's nothing about that to incentivize me to listen. Nothing at all. Yet, if Amy sends a letter to us and says, "Hey guys, um, your website is amazing. How much international work you do is like fabulous, so cool." And I see that you also put out a lot of Portuguese and Spanish work, and well, that's my wheelhouse. I'm a voice actor who specializes in uh, multiple languages, translation. I can help localize the scripts. And should we set up a call? Talk about things. Does it make sense to work together? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but it doesn't hurt to explore. And that's the kind of email that says, "Oh, yeah, maybe we should look into this." So that is huge, hugely important when marketing yourself.
I just want to, I'm going to piggyback on what David just said. I want to give a specific helpful thing about you guys that speak English. Here goes. Because it's easier when you speak other languages, like what you just said, it's easier. But let's see. I'm an English voice actor. Now, do you find out what is your money voice or what is what you book more? You, at the beginning of your career, I suggest it's your call, right? But audition as much as you can. The first bookings that you get, you will notice that your voice has a certain texture, it's suited for other stuff. I found out that I was good for medical. It was emphatic, it was sweet, and medical was what I was booking. And that was my first gig. And then I'm like, oh, okay, and I've been booking medical for hospitals, for maternities, for kids, Seattle Children's. I've been booking medical. Now, once you find that, that is how you market yourself. Maybe you have a voice for automotive. Maybe you have a voice for sports. Maybe you have a voice that is more like reassuring, financial or corporate work. Like depends on the pitch, the tone. Your actual personality is very reflected to what you're going to be booking. So with those skills in mind, that's how you market yourself. You say, my voice is great. I see that you do a lot of find the companies, and let's go with the example of medical, that have the medical clients. Go in their portfolio and see if they're doing for United Healthcare or if they're doing for hospitals or what kind of work they do. Usually they have a certain clients. Some agencies just do like Bacardi or they do Corona or they do just food and retail or they do healthcare. But you have to go in and see what they do and how you can help them. I hope this is helpful.
And Amy, can I ask you, did you start your voiceover journey being like, I'm so passionate about medical narration?
No, I had no idea. I had no idea because I didn't know how it sounded like.
I just wanted to clarify that because I think it's important. And people who have been to these sessions before know that you can go into this thinking like, this is my passion, this is my wheelhouse. And it might be your passion, but it might not be your wheelhouse, actually, the thing that you think you might necessarily be good at.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the truth is, if you can find joy, which obviously you all can, or you wouldn't be sitting here listening to us like talk, you must find joy in the industry at large. So, if you can consider, like to Amy's point, like what's something that you're booking? Is that something that you could do more of? Is that something that you could really market yourself as part of your niche, as part of your wheelhouse? Doesn't mean you can't expand, but why not lean into the thing that it turns out for whatever reason you're naturally good at. And sometimes that gets revealed to you. It isn't exactly like what you thought you would be doing, but you could really find a lot of joy and a lot of, jobs, which is like, hey, the joy and the jobs, like they could go together.
They
Ding
can.
ding.
And then there's a positive cycle that can happen very easily because you get a handful of medical clients and you build up confidence in that area and you build up spots on your demos in that area. And eventually you have some words about that on your website. You may even have a dedicated page just to the medical voiceover community and with a medical only voiceover demo and examples of the clients in the medical world who you've worked with and so that builds upon itself. And there are lots of voice actors who have specialties in subject matter and areas of interest just like that, and sometimes multiple. It's a terrific thing. It's great to find a passion. It's great to find out where your clients are, where or what style your clients are booking you for, and yeah, you will learn a lot. There is certainly a lot to be said about entering the industry a bit more generalized and eventually finding your footing in the industry. It's very common, and your footing will change, by the way, as you grow older. There are voice actors who I've worked with for 20, 30 years over the years, and their focus changes. They get older and their roles change, their voice changes, their interests change, and so too does their career. Your career will always shift.
And Amy, we've talked a little bit about. I'm curious about your training. Obviously, I know that you trained with David Goldberg here at Edge, and I'm curious
Yeah.
how that came about. How did you end up choosing to work with David?
I mean, I knew about Ed Studio when I was doing my research when I just started. Like you guys popped up. Like it was like I want to train with these guys. I really want to do. I want to get into there. However, I took my time to get there because I said, okay, I didn't know at the beginning. I didn't know squat what I was doing. Really, I did not know what I was doing. When I jumped to the fire and I started auditioning, I got into the pay to play sites. Then I noticed I need to hone my skills at some way. I did acting, but I did on camera acting. It's good, but I learned Meisner for whoever actors are here. Meisner, you need a scene partner. You need a scene partner for that. And then I'm like, this is not helping a lot, but it gives me my confidence. Okay, this works. I said, well, let's start. I started exploring. I worked with Crispin Freeman for dubbing. I did something with Dave Fennoy for video games because I love that. But I said, no, this is not, I'm not there yet to get there. I think I'm good at commercial. People tell me that I could sell rocks. So maybe I might be good at doing commercial work. And because, yeah, some people said that. So I'm like, okay, well, let's get into commercial. I got an email blast saying that there was like David was making the special thing for that year. I don't remember if it was for summer or something that he was going to get it. And it was like a demo program. And I'm just going to jump into this and just do it. So I jumped into it. David was so helpful. I remember one thing that he told me was he did check my website. And he told me, Amy, why are you just literally just saying conversational? Everybody is just saying conversational. What is distinctive of you? Come on, you're neutral English, neutral Spanish. You have to sell that. I'm like, okay, he's right. So I went in, I changed the whole website, did this whole thing, remarketed, rebranded myself, and it worked. Once I did the demo program, when I had my English demo on my hand, I had my Spanish and my English, and I started, and there's a question out there to explain what direct marketing is. Direct marketing is you go and sell your services directly to the people that are going to buy it. So within voiceover, there's so many different types of work, right? And depending on the type of work, that's where you're going to get, like, not everybody does. There's e-learning production companies that just do e-learning. There's corporate companies that just do corporate work. There's audio houses that only do commercial work with a specific kind of client. What I mean by direct marketing is you either contact them directly as a person, directly contact them, selling your services to that person. This could be, some people do it with cold calling, some people do it with email, and some people, yeah, I think it's just email and that, or going on their social media and speaking on them, depending on how tech savvy the company is. You don't do it through an agent, you go directly to the person who's going to buy. Okay, so what I mean by that was, where was I going with this? Lost my train of thought. Lost my train of thought for that. Sorry.
Amy is very used to having a script, and
Yes.
I'm trying to cover for you.
Yes.
I do remember that conversation with you, Amy, a couple of years ago, saying like, yeah, you do all these other things. Like, Be specific, but that's what I'm saying for all of you. Like, be specific. Anytime I work with a voice actor, no matter where they are in their career, it's like, let's figure out like what makes sense for you. Have something that is different or that is unique or something that really works to you or your voice or your interests. And most of the time, it really will help you a lot.
And in 2022, you're welcome to lose your train of thought, and everyone's just like, "You go, girl. You go. That's okay. We got you." Where I wanted to go with this was, I think it was Rusty was asking, at this point in your career, how much training do you continue to do? Forgive me, my brain is really slow today. Do you know what I'm trying to say, Amy? Do you
Yeah.
do you coach? You are a coach now here with us at Edge.
And
Do
I
you,
still coach. Yeah.
and you still receive training, right? Can you tell us about that? Like, how often do you do that, or why do you do that?
Yeah. So because I started in commercial work, first I needed to solidify that. And I went into the details. For example, I took a specific course with oh my gosh, I'm foggy. I took a specific course. I took a specific course on commercial delivery. It was for more conversational. How did it? And when I work with a specific talent, I forgot her name. It was a while ago. But if I want to, for example, I've been wanting to get into promos. So I've been working to get into promos. So I have to learn the craft. Like, what is the skills are different. Like, what do I have to know? How do I deliver a script for a promo is different than doing it for a commercial. So I've been training on that. Also, I'm honing because I want to get into video games and animation. I've been working. I signed up for Kalmanson and Kalmanson. That is for like deep work to keep going. Like, and I do work like the workouts. Oh my gosh, I do them every other week. Like I get into I there's a group of voiceovers, we do the workouts, we get in and we just like get wild scripts and we just work with it. And we have either sometimes a casting director or somebody or a teacher that will give you feedback on it and just keep improving. So I still do that. I do it every day. I have a class like in 2 weeks. I have to class. I still work.
Yeah, and so remaining a student will probably be part of your long-term practice as a.
Yes, I always say I love this industry because the older you get, the better you get. Like the more mic time behind the mic, the more hours behind the mic, you get better at it. Your ear, David told me this too, and I love it. You have to train your ear to know how this sounds like. And then you're a better director to yourself and to other people that you're directing to. And that's gold. I think 50% of the work is what do you listen? What are you listening to? And to be able to direct yourself because then you're lost.
Yeah, let me expand upon that. I think to really be successful, you need to be able to self-direct to hear yourself, but also you need to be able to assess what the client wants. Because so many auditions are done from home, your agent is not there to direct you, the client is not there to direct you on the audition. You need to decipher, what it is that the client ultimately wants. You need to take your best guess as to whether or not there's video and spacing is key or not. I mean, there's so many things to think about. And when you think about things from your client's perspective, that makes all the difference in the world. That really does. Well, I should say two things. When you think about things from your client's perspective and you listen objectively, right? You listen back to your audition um, as the client may. You hear it from their perspective. That's when you really start booking jobs. And those two things are key. As I've said before on Ask Me Anything, a lot of voice actors will read a script or read an audition and say, yeah, I like take three. I'll send take three. But you should never put the word I in that sentence. You should never say, I like take three and I'll send take three. It should be, will my client like take three? Why would my client like take three? Or maybe why wouldn't they? And what would they want different? If my client was here directing me, what might they ask for? And those are the questions you need to ask yourself to really book jobs. And for some people, it's just reflexive, completely instinctive. And for other people, you need to learn it and think about it. And well, that's fine, but you need to learn these things. So yeah, Amy, hats off to you for continuing to train because that's key. I think everyone should continue to train. I'm still, learning every day, and I'm thrilled by it. And hopefully, all of you are also. I mean, you're on this call, which is great, right? You're trying to absorb information. You should always keep training.
I
Yeah.
And I will say, when we needed at Edge, when we needed another coach, I was thrilled to say to our education director, you know what? I know a girl who might be pretty good at coaching. Her name is Amy.
It's a woman.
So
Like, that was fun. And that was learning curve too. When I started coaching, I'm like, how can I hone? How can I bring the best out of each student? And that's a learning curve for me because you can know it for you, right? But then you have somebody else and you're trying to help this person, trying to give them insight, gold, I call it gold nuggets. How can I best serve you? I always call it like a servant leader. It's like you're serving that person, but you're also leading them for the best for their career. So that's a good position to be at, and it's very helpful. It's a learning curve.
And David, I really appreciate, I think David's emphasis on the client as opposed to the self. One, I think I'm currently, you would be shocked, but I'm constantly in a battle with my ego. It's so weird. But you have to sort of, if anybody has worked with a client and they're like, I like take two. And you're like, really? And you give them take two, even though you're like, I like that the least, and I don't really want to listen to that, ever again. But you give them the thing that they liked, and you remove yourself from it, and it's really a part of like, why does the client want that? How can I please the client, and let me give them exactly what they want. It's a really important lesson, I think, in the kinds of relationships that we're building. I mean, there's a lot of great keywords happening in today's session. We are coming to close to the end here. Rusty says, I also find that when training someone else, you learn more about what you are teaching them. Coaching and training others is truly an advanced way to improve your own skills. I mean, boy, this maintains like relationships, community, and all that we give and receive in a continuous cycle, which Amy pointed out at the very beginning is so important in this industry. Speaking to that I want to, in our last few minutes, Amy, you've been so awesome and generous with your time, and you've talked to us about, moving here from Mexico and opportunities and all that sort of thing. And I just want to, our industry is growing and changing, and and you've done so much, and I'm wondering if there's anything you want to add, as like a young woman of color in this industry, if there are things if there's any sort of like inspo you want to give to people who are like, oh wow, I'm struggling in this area, or I feel like there isn't a place for me, or if there's like any like additional aspects you might want to add that to just like inspire people and boost them about regarding your journey and things that you've learned.
Oh my gosh, you hit home there. I remember I told you guys that I come from a little teeny tiny town, like in the middle of nowhere, Mexico. So a lot of the battle was with my mind. I always thought that I was never good enough. This is something that I've been battled like through my like my adult years. And I always had it haunts me sometimes, like, you're not gonna be, who do you think you are? These are the thoughts. Who do you think you are? What are you doing here? I have this what is it, imposter syndrome? Like when you feel that you don't belong in that part. But what I've learned a lot is, you know what? I hush them, those thoughts, and I say, well, what do I have to lose? If I don't do it, I have 100% guarantee that I won't make it. If I try, I have 50% chance to get it or 50% chance not to get it. So I increase my odds. So I'm like, well, you know what? If I don't do it now, or if I don't just try, I'll never know. So I'll be 40, 50, and I'm always going to be haunted now. What would have happened? So that pushes me more than the fear of that I'm not good enough. So I've brought it to everything I try to do, even the auditions. You have no idea. Sometimes I get an audition, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a big deal. You record, send, forget. Record, send, forget. That's been the best thing about it. I don't even think about it. I'm like, okay, then what's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What can I do now? And it's helped me a lot not to think in big objectives. I do little objectives, little teeny tiny ones. Like, what can I do this week to be better? And just grow upon the 1% rule. That thing that if you just grow 1% every day, by the time you're done, you're going to be like, you would be amazed of how much you've advanced in a little time just because you're compounding on it. So I just say, start. Or if you've thought about it, just do it. Don't be scared about it. Just try. And if you fail, I don't believe in failure. I always believe in learning opportunities. It's not a failure. Like when we started to learn to walk, I see my kid, this is another thing. I saw my kid learning how to walk. He wasn't scared of falling. He would get up and just do it again. And he'll get up and just do it again. And by the time I was thinking he was running, and I'm like, well, I should be more like that. Why am I so scared of failing? I just have to get up and do it again. And I'll eventually get there. So that's something I would love for you guys to take home today. Think about it, not a lot, and do it. I hope this is helpful.
Oh my gosh. Time for you to write a book, Amy.
Oh man.
Can you just drop in the chat if you think Amy should teach a group class here at Edge Studio? Just like, I think we'd love to attend your class, please. Yes, okay, we love to see that. Amy, you are incredible. Speaking of classes and things, Amy did mention that she took advantage of a sale going on where she could train at Edge Studio, and that is it's a really, I did not actually tell her to say that. We do, however, have a sale happening currently. Our spring sale is going on where you can buy a demo package where you can get your coaching sessions paired with your recording that we will fully produce here at Edge. You can get 1, 2, or 3 demos if you're like, I want to bang out my English, Spanish, and my audio book, or whatever it is that you're trying to like land. We have an opportunity for you to get some sweet discounts on making that happen. Additionally, here at Edge, next week, our beloved art brooder, VO Zaddy, as I like to call him, he's got EQ and compression. And if you don't know what those things are, you should probably take this class, which is a lot of fun. And he's just a total joy. And at some point I want to post the B-roll of the videos he tries to make for me. He makes for me, and then he's just hilarious and amazing. So please take advantage of that. Investigate voiceover as well. If you are like, I still don't know where to start, Siobhán, this is your place to start. It's your absolute beginner course that can set you up for success here or wherever else you might want to go. But particularly for us, dying for an official professional demo right now. Geddies, click that link and get yourself some sweet, sweet sales. Home Studio Show and Tell is indeed happening. Next Wednesday night, I will be your host for some sweet happy hour fun times. That's going to be 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And join us. We just lost one of our people, but we'll get him next month. But Mel Katz is one of them. So I'm currently, I need to book another person because I lost my other one. David, any last minute statements before we get out of here?
Yeah, couple things very quickly. If any of you are going to sign up for the spring special, let us know soon because there is an expiration date on it. I don't know exactly when it is, but
I do. May 31st.
okay.
It expires May 31st.
Oh, you have about 12 days. Okay. But it's a real good program. Like it's only once a year we have the spring sale. So yeah, take advantage of it. I want to just personally give a shout out, as I always do, to Siobhán for just being awesome and rocking Ask Me Anything. Want to give a shout out to Amy for being awesome and rocking the voiceover world. It was a pleasure to work with her in one capacity a few years ago and now in another capacity. And a shout out to all of you for just rocking the voiceover community and joining us. So many of you look familiar to me. I see you every week or every other week when we have these calls, and that is terrific. You know, your dedication, your desire to learn and improve is fantastic, and I hope it never stops. So, yeah, look forward to being back in 2 weeks.
Glorious. I love it. David, thank you so much. And yeah, everybody, Amy, she donated her time to be here with us and just share this free hour with you all. So any love you want to drop in the chat, I will be sure she receives. Amy, any last words for you as we get out of here and do other things today?
Basically, go and do something today. Go do something. Go do something this week. Go. Rock it.
Amy, it was such a pleasure having you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you
Thank
for your beautiful analogy with the young ones. And children are awesome. She's right. They do stumble along and they do not care. They are like ready to go. And I think that's a beautiful way to just move into the next week. So y'all, I appreciate you truly from my heart.
Wait. Sorry. Siobhán, can you tell everyone how to download the chat?
Oh, sure. So you can save the chat by clicking on the ellipses in the bottom right corner. And when you click on that, it's if you're on desktop. I actually don't know if you're on mobile, but when you click, the save chat is your first option. It is above participant. You will see that, and then that can be yours. Yes, and you can save all the delicious comments in this marvelous group convo today. Thank you, everyone. And Fabulous. Yes, sale ends May 31st, so get in on it. And otherwise, we will see you in the month of June, which I always get so overwhelmed by it. May 25th, I'll see you at Home Studio Show and Tell at 8:30 Eastern Time. And then June 2nd, David and I will join you for more shenanigans on the Ask Me Anything. Hey, everybody, I appreciate you. Hope you're well. This will be on YouTube this weekend, so I'll look for it then. If you're watching the recording, we love you too. Thanks for being with us, and be well, be well. Siobhán again. Oh boy, Mike, dad jokes, you are dismissed. Class is officially dismissed. Okay. Mwah. Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.